All right, Connie. So this week we've got two pieces I want to share out of the Ernst & Young study back from May of 21. This is basically describing the emergence of a more flexible work model. They are calling it the flex economy workforce. So an Ernst & Young survey shows that 90% of employees want flexibility in the where and when they work. And this is a new thing. So I read that and I thought to myself, employers are thinking about just the office location being remote, but this is speaking to something else. What are your thoughts on this?
So to me, again, it's not surprising, particularly knowing that millennials are absolutely demanding this level of flexibility on where, but specifically when. They've figured out a way to optimize their workflow. And honestly, let's extend that. How? They have figured out their own tech stack because given that they've grown up in a digitally first world, they're very comfortable putting together, different tools, applications, approaches to really create a more effective and efficient approach to doing what they do. They have been accustomed to being able to work from anywhere, or have seen people successfully work from anywhere, anytime, and still deliver effective and impactful results. Now that this is something in which had to be a sort of a pervasive thing for everyone because of necessity, they're now, and they want to ensure that this is, sort of a standard thing for them, because they understand that there's a more effective way to work and they're ready to change the paradigm.
To your point, the article talks about millennials being twice as likely to quit as baby boomers if they don't get this flexibility.
They're in a situation, or at least I should say, they understand that there are different ways to work and they don't want to conform to the old way of working because they know of a new way of working. And it's really about having work fit into their life now, because they also understand that there's a real importance of being able to reflect who you are in every facet of life. So enable to really accelerate the way that they want. Work and life are completely integrated. So it's about having this two-way exchange and understanding that, they're more effective in working in the location that fits them best, because that's where they can think better. That's where they have access to sort of resources just in a different way that helps keep them centered and grounded. Then why couldn't they do it? Because they can prove that they can deliver the results and outcomes that a business needs.
So the second point that article makes, the Ernst & Young study, is historically company culture was built on a shared in-office experience in person. And obviously that's no longer the case now. So what are your thoughts around how company culture gets built going forward?
Well, I think there are sort of three aspects to that. One, they have to talk to each other and have that conversation. The other piece is that there needs to be an acknowledgement too that there are disconnects. There needs to be the acknowledgement that there is a different way of working. And then the third is this need to collaborate and co-create a solution, because now the employee realizes that if they don't have a say, they've had a choice and a voice in the past, particularly, the millennial generation younger, they've operated in a different way. They've had a choice and a voice, and they want to be able to share that point of view, because they believe there are new and different ways of operating that can be just as effective. So when you take that into account, it is not a command and control structure anymore. It is one where it's definitely more flat. It's one that there's dialogue between the two parties, one in which there needs to be a partnership going forward.
You're describing a whole new dynamic where the management executive levels have to understand partnership with the employee that they didn't have to previously acknowledge.
Right. It's shifting culture. At the end of the day, many understand that in order to create that kind of momentum that they want, it is really driven by the employee now, as we see that there's this fundamental shift in power shifting the employee. But I think the bigger picture too, though, is that for any leader to understand how to best create the right culture and then subsequently drive the business results that they're looking for, it gets back to honestly operating at, or really understanding the basics. What I mean by the basics is know who your employee base is, with different generations, each of them having different needs, motivations, experiences, backgrounds each of them have operated in a different way. If you don't understand where each of them are coming from, and if you have 4 generations in the workplace, you inevitably are going to have friction, you're going to have conflict, and you're not going to create this integrated culture, one where everybody's supporting each other, one where people can understand one another, where they can communicate effectively and get to the right outcome. So they need to first understand one another, which means you need to understand the big picture of why there is friction between all of them, how you can create that common ground, build the dialogue amongst them, within your employees, between management, have representation of all of their voices, and come together and create the right solution. And each of the solutions are going to be different depending on your company, right? It's not a one size fits all whatsoever, which also makes it hard, because in the past it was trying to standardize everything. There is one mode of operating that has been the most successful mode of operating, so we need to copy it because company A, B, C has been able to accelerate, so we're going to take that same model and apply it to us. If we're now in this world where it is all about inclusivity and valuing diversity, then there is no one size fits all model at all. It actually is somewhat of a custom solution. That's hard. Everybody wants a standardized solution. There is no standardized solution.
I couldn't agree more. As my background in sales and relationship management, it's always about the active listening, the exact fit for the situation, the empathy. Like, all these things are new dynamics at the executive level that didn't previously exist in the standard corporation back when. It'll be interesting to watch.
Absolutely.
We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep you posted. And I appreciate you sharing your insights.